as Paco was saying earlier today, in Mexico, we're right now in the middle of this big discussion regarding our legal framework for religious freedom matters. And one of the elements that is being discussed is the role that the Christians themselves, or believers, regardless of the particular belief that they profess, play within democracy. Because there is an argument that since those who believe in something, let's say Christianity, base their arguments in their own faith, they cannot full-fledgedly participate in the public sphere because they don't share a common language with those who don't believe. And therefore, there might be a threat towards the development of democracy where we should use this common secularized language in order for democracy to flourish. What would you have to say about that position?
Well, I can only learn from you because I know nothing about Mexican politics, but what you say is very, very interesting. I can only say that from my own experience that the development of a true Christian democracy where Christians can have an individual voice over against state power, state legislation, is extremely important and should be a development of Christianity in the political situations around the world in the first century of the new millennium. I think Christians worldwide have potentially a tremendous role to play in politics. I think they should and must have an independent voice. I'm not so keen personally on the development of Christian democracy as a political party. I don't think the history of Christian democracy in the democratic countries of Europe is a particularly positive phenomenon. We do not have a Christian democratic party in the UK. Actually, we do, but in numbers, I don't think it even reaches 10,000 in membership. But I think the fact that Christians should speak out in a democracy and very often be against the existing political system is very important. We have in Britain something which is undemocratic. It is the existence as of right, as of legislation and tradition, the existence of bishops of my own church, the Episcopal Church, the Anglican Church, sitting in their own right in the upper house of Parliament, the House of Lords. And those bishops will almost consistently criticize government policy. I think that is a very healthy thing, and sometimes it has reached quite dramatic proportions. The example I would give comes from the early 1980s, 30 years ago. I know, this is not Argentina, this is Mexico. May I use the word Malvinas? I'm not going to ask you where you stand on the issue of the Malvinas. Perhaps the Mexicans who don't stand anywhere. But we fought a war to secure the continued dependence on the UK of the Falkland Islands. Now, that was a brutal war. Mrs. Thatcher was very strong. And although I became an advisor to Mrs. Thatcher, it had nothing to do with the Falkland War, I promise you. It's to do with human rights in the Soviet Union. The Archbishop of Canterbury got up as a member of the House of Lords and condemned that war. Now, I think that was very healthy for British society, and I doubt whether there are many countries of the world where a similar thing would have happened. I think that our democracy is stronger because a world-class Christian leader with influence in many countries around the world could criticize so openly and so publicly British policy was a monumental development in the progress of our own democracy in the UK.
Continuando con esta línea de pensamiento, continuando con esta línea de pensamiento y volviendo al caso mexicano, evidentemente gran parte de la discusión tiene dos extremos. Por un lado, la necesidad de reconocer que en las democracias existe pluralidad y entonces es por eso que es indispensable que el Estado sea laico. Pero en este gran contexto también es muy importante proteger el derecho de las personas a adaptar su vida a respuestas radicales, que son las que da la religión, y por radical quiero decir respuestas fundamentales sobre quiénes son, hacia dónde van, etc. Nos parece aquí en el CISAV que la libertad religiosa es un componente importantísimo de la democracia, efectivamente. Sin embargo, en la discusión que a veces está en los medios, notamos mucho miedo. Se habla del miedo de que la Iglesia Católica entre a dar clases de religión en las escuelas públicas, pero también se habla quizá del miedo, esto desde el campo católico, de utilizar la ley para limitar los derechos políticos de los creyentes. En su opinión, ¿cuál es el rol que juega el miedo en la oposición que a veces se tiene a la libertad religiosa?
The role that fear plays, that's the question you were asking. I think here, looking at my own experience of Russia, my knowledge of what is happening today, thank God, and I use that expression absolutely sincerely, and I do thank God for it, that the element of fear which used to dominate the whole of Soviet society, and as I knew it when I became a student in Moscow in 1959, that domination of people by fear has largely receded into the background. There is fear. Those people who experience it, or perhaps overcome it, in Russia today, are primarily journalists. We know by name, it's not really my particular work, but it's on record, that over 40 journalists whose names are on record have been murdered by the successive regimes of Yeltsin and Putin, perhaps not directly as a result of state authority, but for one reason or another, 40 in investigative journalists have been murdered. My own closest colleague in Moscow, Sergei Filatov, who organizes what I referred to briefly, the collection of information from all around Russia. He's published information on every aspect of Russian church life, except one, and that is the corruption, financial corruption, which undoubtedly exists within the structure of the Orthodox Church. He is actually afraid to publish what he knows. He doesn't even tell me. He knows that I wouldn't write about it, but the fear that he experiences from possibly the Soviet past or even the more recent Russian president prevents him from writing what he knows. But dear friends, I thank God that that is not typical of what is going on in Russian society today. I think Russian society has, to a very large extent, lost its fear. That is why I am an optimist about the future of Russia. I think that Russian people, Russian believers, of whom there are tens and tens of millions, are coming to know the truth expressed in the letters of St. John. You will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. The real heart, the essence of Christianity does not permit fear. And I know it sounds trivial, but to relate that to Pussy Riot is relevant. We may not agree with what Pussy Riot did, some will, some won't, but what they did shows that fear no longer dominates the thinking of young people. And the internet cannot be controlled. The Russian internet is fearless, and you will find Christian voices expressed absolutely fearlessly on the internet. They will publish anything. My article about Pussy Riot is on the Russian internet in translation. And 2 days ago, a radio broadcast that I did before I left England was published. It was transmitted on Monday. Is now available through the Russian internet. But there you are.